Some big blocks.
Yeah, absolutely. And the 2-yard touchdown
and
run.
The 2-yard touchdown. He's what you want in a fullback. He's the answer at that position.
Yeah, but I love your selection of Marcus Robbins. I wasn't even really thinking down that road, but I mean that's perfect. And I mean the type of game that's been the grinded out kind of tough game, battle in the trenches, is just perfect for him to be the star that's shining the brightest.
Robbins with 2 sacks and big blocks, including most notably that spectacular block right there. You know, it sprang Mayer for 3 yards, but that makes a statement. You're knocking someone down. He knocked him 5 yards in the air. That's stuff you don't. That's stuff you see in like Mighty Mouse cartoons. You don't see that in real life. He flew in the air about 5 yards. I wish we had replay. If you're at home and you're taping this game,
rewind
at the end
that.
of the game, rewind it and watch it.
Of course, don't miss any of the action right now. The Eagles knocking on the door, just about 13 yards away from a score. They throw it up, and it's caught for a touchdown by Anthony Roby.
The fade pattern. I would like to say Roby smoked his man, but he was just kind of jogging. He wasn't really like into running all that fast on that play. He just kind of jogged by him. It's like a little catch in the backyard.
It wasn't the prettiest, but certainly effective, and a jog for Roby. It's like a sprint for most of us. So,
do you know what's funny about that? He beat him by 5 yards jogging. Wow. Another extra point.
Anthony Roby with his 3rd touchdown catch of the season.
I'm feeling good about this extra point.
Let's see. Taylor Hillenbrand, who's done a great job punting, is the holder, and it looks good. And it is. Flawless.
Flawless. Seven, 7, and 7. 2 weeks ago, I'd have never been able to tell you that added up to 21. But tonight, got my times tables up to speed. Everything's going great here at historic Roosevelt Field on a spectacular homecoming. You can't ask for a better night for football.
Oh, no, absolutely not. I mean, just with the fan turnout, the band is here at Roosevelt Field for the first time in 3 home games. And I mean, the weather on top of it. And the Eagles then come out and put up a great performance. I mean, you can't ask for any more.
You can't really ask for anything more than that. And yes, you mentioned the band and their tribute to the lost city of Atlantis.
I know you like that.
It was really good. I'm a big Greek theater guy, and I love the bold tale of the lost city of Atlantis. It's one of the things. Plato saw fit to mention it. Why shouldn't the band director Johnny Trujillo mention it here on the field? Words rich, but not spoken through the sounds of Plato being read, but rather through the sounds of euphonious horns matched with expert dance.
Oh, not a good kickoff by Hillenbrand. As that one travels about 20 yards, and it's picked up and a little 2-yard return, but since it was such a short kick, a great field position for the Panthers.
We got to stop praising people.
Does this year's performance outdo the Neil Armstrong tribute of last year?
What's that, Mark?
Does this year's Atlantis-themed band beat out the Neil Armstrong tribute of last year?
It barely squeaks by. I really enjoyed the Neil Armstrong tribute last year, but this year I'm such a fan. I'm a sucker for Greek theater. The Lost City of Atlantis, to me, is truly one of the most inspiring tales of all time.
No doubt. Well, the Cheltenham Panthers offense has been anemic so far, and they're going to try to get something started. This game's not over. We have a whole quarter to play, and they run an option and pitch it to Eric Waters, and he's cut down. A good tackle by both Roby and Dinolfi were there. And it'll be second and about 7 or 8. But like we said, the Eagles certainly can't let up. Just 3 scores in 11 minutes. Yeah, that's tough, but if you sit back and lose focus, it will happen. 2nd and 7. They hand it off to the fullback, Lester, and they pick up another 3 or 4. 3rd and 2. The Panthers come out in the I formation with 2 wide receivers far side. Cropper still has yet to get anything started with his passing game so far, and they really need it right now. They give it to Waters, though. He busts through and picks up the first down and an additional about 7 yards. Heck of a run by Waters.
Nice run right there. Big hits. 10:26 left to go in the half.
But like we said, the running game has been there more or less, but without some kind of a passing game to aid it. That's why you don't see him with any points.
No, they can't. They can't close the deal here tonight. Almost like in the first half, they had some sort of idea of like what the Eagles were going to do, but not now.
They hand it off to Lester, and he gets a solid gain of about 5 yards. I mean, they have absolutely zero passing game. It's not like it's been mediocre. They've had absolutely zero, and their running game's not. It's not exactly amazing. It's not Sheldon Mayer. It's not Adrian Peterson.
Yeah.
So, that's why they're not able to score any points.
Yeah, this isn't figuratively none. This is actually none.
Yeah,
they have none.
With all the sacks, I doubt they have positive yardage on passing plays today.
No. Not, and I would hazard a guess to say it's not even close.
So like I said, they need some kind of a miraculous running game. And yes, it's good, but it's certainly not miraculous.
And it's eating up clock.
They give it to Waters. He's met by Battaglio, Roby, and some others. And he's close to a first down. He looks to be a little short. I believe they're going to mark him. They will indeed say 3rd and inches. 9 minutes to go in the game. The Eagles trying to seal the deal.
9 minutes to go, and yet we're still running it up the gut. Maybe they know something we don't, which they don't.
They line up in the I form, similar to what the Eagles run most of the time. They try to sneak it with Cropper. It's going to be close. It is going to be close. The forward progress may net him a first down.
No, they're marking it 4th.
Oh.
Mark, they stopped them right there.
Nice.
Forward progress was non-existent.
And they're obviously going to go for it, I would assume.
They were going to go for it unless they're going to kick another line drive to Sheldon.
We've already seen how that's worked out.
Yes, very poorly.
Of course, Sheldon Mayer with that long touchdown punt return. One of the Eagles' 3 scorers here tonight. The other 2, of course, Tracy Presley with the 2-yard run and the 13-yard hookup of Mayer and Roby. Shannon Mayer, that is. Hitting Roby, hooking up for the 3rd touchdown this season. And for Shannon Mayer, that's his 6th touchdown pass of the season, his 7th overall when you throw in another one rushing. And Shannon Mayer just adding to his amazing start in his very young Norristown career.
The band is playing again here. They're playing a song that I don't recognize right immediately.
So 1st and 10 for the Cheltenham Panthers.
Not only does Cheltenham's team only know one play, but it seems as if their band only knows one song. Another Seven Nation Army tribute again from the Cheltenham band. They played the NFL song and Seven Nation Army.
Ball at about the 37 of the Eagles. Cropper hands it off to Waters, and Waters is slung down by Marcus Robbins, making yet another play.
Big hit by Marcus, but giving up some yards there. But with 7:48 and no sense of urgency, I'm going to say.
Yeah, go ahead and take your 5 yards.
Hey, whatever, take your 5 yards. Score a touchdown. Have a snack. Have some of that delicious homemade chili. Go over and see Captain Bob and have him make you some brisket. Who cares? Take your time, guys. Come on in. The water's fine.
Under 7.5 minutes to go. Cropper in trouble. He's sacked again. It's Larry Smith and also number 52, Leonardo Colazzo on the play. Both of them have had outstanding games and now give them each another half a sack.
Oof. You get the sense that Cheltenham's offense is like the Los Alamos nuclear missile testing range, and Norristown's just trying stuff out. They're dropping bombs, and they're seeing how many megatons they land with. Larry Smith bombs away, Larry.
I'll tell you, their defense has landed pretty many megatons.
Just, man, oh man. The U.S. Army is watching this game, figuring out how to get more megatonnage out of their weaponry.
They run a little play action and then an option. That's a weird-looking play. And then Waters picks up about 3. It's been the same thing. Just a couple of yards here and there by Waters, and a couple of yards here and there by Lester, and nothing more.
Who did they beat?
I couldn't tell you. But I wouldn't want to be that team. Well, it'll be 4th down and 7. They're going to have to go for it, of course. They've been using way too much time, especially for considering the ground that they've covered, not much.
They've taken a real contemplative, approach to football here. Not much urgency really required. Kind of laissez-faire, I guess.
Even if they score here, though, it's still, you got to consider it a victory for the Eagles defense because they've taken so much time. They hand it off to Waters, and
even if you score, which you won't doing that.
Wow, big hit. And it's a turnover on downs.
I feel like I've spent much of the last 2 drives laughing. And maybe that's because I have. I've just been overcome with the giggles watching this offensive performance. And Mark, this is stunning.
I mean, the Eagles' offense has been pretty good. The Eagles' defense, best game I've seen out of them in a while.
I want to see them now take the same sensibility they take with the defense. I want to try and some clown stuff.
Well, they just hand it off, but they still are able to get 10 yards with Tracy Presley, who was just a train carrying guys on his back.
He didn't even look like he wanted that 1st down, but he just kept on going, and no one just tried to stop him. He just took it.
Actually, I take that back because the defensive performance against Ben Franklin in that 40-0 beatdown may have outdone this just because of the turnovers they caused, but I'll tell you, this
is a
right
league game.
Yeah, and it's impressive. And they've lost to Cheltenham 5 out of the last 9 times they've played. And you'd never know it by looking at this.
No.
And
he slides safely in the second.
I believe that was Sheldon Mayer just sliding down. That's one way to avoid risking injury.
That certainly is.
But Mayer losing his footing or whatever it was, and it'll bring up 2nd and 10. 4:44 to go in the 4th quarter.
The 21-0 score really does nothing to indicate the magnitude of the shocking violence that has been perpetrated on the Cheltenham Panthers.
They're just overpowering them in every facet of the game. More speed, more strength, more everything.
Yeah, just crazy.
And it's been a very well-managed game. You don't see tons of points, but they haven't allowed Cheltenham to come back because their drives have been long and well put together. Presley breaking a tackle. Now another one down the sideline. He gets all the way down to the Panthers' 36. Boy, Tracy Presley has some serious power.
Tracy Presley. This says, I'm looking at it, and I quote, that he is 5'11", 175, but he plays like he's 50 pounds bigger than
tank.
that. But there's an eagle down, and you don't want to see this.
It's Presley.
Number 21, Tracy Presley, is down. You don't want to see this at this stage of the game as athletic trainer Dennis Flynn and team doctor John Nevulis come out to assess the damage. Hopefully it's nothing serious. They need this kid.
Yeah, no matter how much of a beast you are, the injury bug can bite anyone. So, yeah, especially in a game like this that's in hand, that's the toughest when you see these injuries to key players. So all the Eagles down on a knee, hoping the best for their teammate is athletic trainer Dennis Flynn and some of the other Eagles coaching staff members look on. Cheltenham trying to figure out what they're going to do on defense. I think it's a little bit too little, too late, but
Too little, too late. I mean, you could blitz everyone, and it wouldn't matter.
by the way, Tracy Presley running off under his own power looks to be perfectly fine.
Dennis Flynn is smiling, which is a sign that he's not that badly hurt. They're going to check him out, and they're going to see what's up. But hopefully he's okay, and it looks like he is.
He's got to take a play off because the trainers came in onto the field, but if they need him next play, I'm sure he could be back in there. But then again, with this game the way it is, they may not risk it. Here's Mayer to the outside. Uses his block. There's a flag thrown in the secondary. Two
There's
flags
another
thrown, and Mayer gets to the 27 for now.
It's in the area of the hold.
We'll see.
Maybe the refs will surprise us, too.
It is indeed a hold on the Eagles.
Oh, it ups the degree of difficulty, and you like to see that in gymnastics. And I guess at this point in the football game, you'd like to see it here, too.
Why not?
Tackle on the yards. Why not?
Just 4 minutes to go and a second. And the Eagles are on their way to going 4-0. They've had some pretty good starts, but this one has to be the most impressive in a while.
I did not think that I would see the day that when they went 4-0. 3-0 has been the stumbling block for the last 4 years. It's been 3-0, 3-0, 3-0, 3-0.
And then that those league games start, and they have trouble. They hand it off to C.J. Douglas. He gets a couple. And convincingly, too. They've looked good. The scores have all been pretty much blowouts. I mean, the opening game was just 8 points, although in reality, that game was – they had won that game with, earlier in the fourth quarter.
Yeah.
Just some points in garbage time by the Northeast.
Well, they've just administered 2 beatdowns to league teams. That hasn't happened in the past. They have not put league teams away. When they've beaten league teams, it's been by a touchdown or 2. Not like this.
I mean, the strength of their opponents, frankly, hasn't been all that great. But you have to play who you're played, and they've been blowing them out and looking great in doing so. Oh, that looked like a false start.
You got to beat who you play. That's the first rule.
This could be a false start on Shannon Mayer, as odd as that is. They're just out of sync, and they're
Everything's coming up roses for the Eagles.
So apparently,
it's against Cheltenham.
Yeah, how about that? The Panthers are, I guess, in the neutral zone. And, of course, if that happens and an offensive player moves while the defensive player's in the neutral zone, that's a defensive foul.
They keep finding new and interesting ways to do bad things.
Second and about 7. Mayer drops back. They'll let him throw. Throws deep for Hill. Good coverage. Oh, he almost caught it anyway, but they're going to throw a flag for interference.
Pretty clearly, a pretty clear pass interference call on that one. You can't do that.
Still, that was a good adjustment by Milo Hill on an underthrown ball that he almost came up with, despite the interference by the defender. Of course, didn't come up with it, but drew the interference and a good adjustment.
Oddly enough, it's better that the ball was underthrown, because if it had been overthrown, Hill wouldn't have caught up to it, and they wouldn't have called the pass interference call. So it worked out perfectly for the Eagles, because they're going to score again, driving ever closer to that 4 touchdowns, 28.
Yeah, and that was Waters on the coverage. And honestly, I feel if he looked up at the ball and just knocked it down, his coverage was good enough. He was with Hill pretty much step for step, but didn't really get his head around in time. And the foul results.
Exactly. He had him stride for stride.
Yep.
There was no need to do what he did.
Also, something from earlier in the game, Nico DeSilvio has not come back into the game, and he's still being looked at on the sideline. So also something to keep in mind for weeks to come.
Something to keep in mind for things to come. But Kyle McClure, number 50, he's been playing a really good game.
Absolutely.
And McClure's been doing a good job.
They give it to Mayer up the middle. And Mayer somehow squirms out of a tackle. That's what he does. And he ends up at the 14-yard line.
That's a hard position to just come in at and do well. But Kyle McClure, I have to give props to the young man. Coming in at center, a position I know you play and you practice, but that snap, that has not affected the Eagles' offense at all, and everything's been going very well. So nice job today, young man.
Yeah, their rushing attack and their all-around offensive attack hasn't slowed down at all with the loss of a very valuable player in Nico De Silvio. And again, let's just hope that he can come back expeditiously.
Indeed.
Anthony in the backfield. Sheldon Mayer, that is not in this play. Presley up the middle. He's into the end zone for his second touchdown of the game and his third of the year.
So Tracy Presley's definitely my offensive star of the game now. He just put a layer of shellac on that award. Unstoppable. This Eagles offensive attack so far has been unstoppable.
A machine.
Machine.
You're going to get your 28.
So the Eagles are 3 for 3 in extra points thus far. Most success they've had on these point after attempts. And they'll try to add a fourth. Jared Fox is the junior kicker. Taylor Hillenbrand, also the punter, holds. Low snap. But they get it off, up, and good. 28-0. And your prediction, I know, is what, 28-10?
28-10.
Yeah, and it's 28-0.
Yeah. Just multiply that 10 by the nothing that is the Cheltenham offense, and we got it.
Well, I said 35-14.
14. I mean, your 14 looks especially like outlandish, even though it's not. I mean, Cheltenham's put up points, but my 10 looks outlandish too.
Well, you had them winning by 18. I had them winning by what, 21?
Yeah.
So
actually, you got me beat.
I win.
You win.
I win.
You got me beat in the how many the Eagles would win by pregame prediction, but I got you beat in the how many the Eagles would score prediction, unless of course the Eagles score again, which could happen.
Oh yeah,
and likely will.
And we both vastly overestimated the power of this powerless Cheltenham offense.
Yeah, any estimation would have been an overestimation. We would have said that they would have gotten 1 passing yard. That would have been a gross overestimation. We laugh because we've seen.
Eagles will kick off. Minute 40 to go in the game. Eagles again on their way to 4-0. Just a minute 40 seconds of game time away. Decent kickoff.
I think they should have onside kicked that one.
They might as well at this point. And he picked it up on a knee, so they're going to start at the 10. This game can't get any worse for the Panthers.
Now, here's a question for you, Mark. Do you do the utter destruction move now? Like sending a blitz, and like when Beowulf goes to the sea troll's cave and cuts off Grendel's head and brings that back up as a show of his might, his war might. And of course he used the sword so heavy no hand but his own could hold it. Do you try to score again by blitzing and sending the farm and just putting a layer of embarrassment? Do you do that?
I don't see why not. I mean,
I don't see why not.
I mean, they can pretty much do it at will. And I don't know. I'm surprised actually that you don't see some of the backups and reserve players and the younger players coming in as we have a flag before the snap. But hey, as long as you have all your starters and best players out there and they've been able to wreak havoc at will, why not?
Send them. Send the farm. But that's always my vote. I always vote send the farm.
Especially with them backed up like this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Backing up even more.
Yeah, now they're at the 5 with a delay of game call?
Send the farm. Let Roby get a pick 6.
I'm going to go out on a limb here and say that it doesn't look good for the Cheltenham Panthers in this game.
This is peculiar. Apparently, they misinterpreted which way the penalty was going to be assessed, and what was once a penalty against Cheltenham oddly became a penalty against Norristown.
They had some kind of pre-snap infraction. Very rare to see that called on a defense, but they handed off. Oh, what a tackle by Evan Battaglia. Those Eagles are still going hard, getting it done.
The famed 80s band Twisted Sister had an album called Stay Hungry, and the Eagles defense is doing just that. They are still as bloodthirsty as they were when it was nothing.
Yeah, it seems like the Eagles defense, they're just tenacious. It's like they have a personality now. Like they're ferocious. And boy, they're pumped up right now. And like, I mean, just relentless. And
relentless.
I mean, it's just great to watch. It's like, It's unbelievable. It's unbelievable.
I'm stunned.
They hand it off. They're going to have to run one more play after this. That one gets them, what, about -2?
Exum shuts him down again. Minimal gain. I want my pick 6. I don't think I'm going to get it on this play. I mean, that would be completely stupid. But anything can happen.
So just 22 seconds left to go. The Cheltenham Panthers, as I said earlier, have to run one more play before this game is officially over.
I should call a timeout.
I don't know that they should go that far. Here's the last play. Oh, wow. They dropped the toss. And I guess that's pretty much a microcosm of how the game went for the Cheltenham Panthers as the Eagles get their 4th win of the season in as many games, 28-0. Tracy Presley, 2 touchdown runs. Sheldon Mayer, a long punt return touchdown. And Shannon Mayer hooked up with Aunt Roby for the 3rd time this year.
Wow.
That's it? Wow.
Well, I mean, I'm going to have more insightful and awesomely cool stuff to say in a second. But that second's not now. Wow. That's 2 things, Mark, at the same time. Ready? It's the worst game a team can play. And the best game a team can play. Almost Dickensian in its scope. It was the best of times and the worst of times, although I think Dickens was talking about both of those things happening to the same group of people, whereas we were talking about it happening to 2 different teams. Oh boy. Cheltenham goes to hang its head in shame, while Norristown raises the goblet high and celebrates in triumph.
I'm going to ask you a tough question. You ready?
Okay, tough one. I want a tough question.
All right, give me one aspect of the game that you think was the most responsible for the 28-0, a specific aspect.
The defense, specifically the defensive line and the pass rush. The Eagles are going to get theirs in the points. That's going to happen. But if there's not that defensive component, specifically that pass rush, that beatdown is nowhere near as shocking, and the game is not just as overwhelming. The defensive line is what made that happen.
Yeah, and one of the big stories coming into the season was the size of the defensive line and how that was going to be a strength this year. And we talked about all the depth they have. But until now, they haven't really blown anybody away. They've been really solid. But this performance here tonight really solidifies them as a dominant force.
They are definitely solid. They're doing really well. And as we go into next week, we see that the Eagles are just a team and a force to reckon with in their conference.
Well, the Norristown Eagles, once again, with a 28-0 victory over the league game Cheltenham Panthers, and they're going to go to 4-0. But for now, we'll wrap up the football action here. We had a great time with the homecoming atmosphere and everything that went along with it, and the football game was great for the Eagles too. For now, I'm Mark Kolodinsky, and for Dave Fazzini and our entire camera crew and the rest of everything that goes into this NASD TV production, John Doyle, Ryan Moore, Griffin Blake, all doing a good job helping us out, and we will see you next time.
Remember, your homecoming king, Sheldon Mayer, your homecoming queen, Danielle Bolito. Great night, fantastic. We love all the pomp, the circumstance, and the pageantry for all of us. Mark, it's been a great game. We'll see you guys next week. Don't go changing.